Welcome to another episode of Ananda Marga Dharmacast, and I'm your host, Dada Veda Pragyananda. Many people just call me Dada Veda. Whichever one you use is fine with me. So this is a podcast series. It's available in audio format or now also in a visual component too. And we're looking at all matters spiritual, and we're drawing our inspiration from the wisdom of the Guru Sri Sri Anandamurti. And today's topic is something which was suggested to me by one of my YouTube viewers who put a comment, and he asked for more information about karma. So karma is one of these Sanskrit words which is now crept into the English vocabulary, just like mantra and guru and pundit, things like this. So karma is there. But often when these terms get incorporated into English, there's kind of not the exact meaning is there, and it becomes like just a cultural shorthand. So everybody knows that we have this phrase, instant karma. If you do something bad, then something bad may happen to you immediately. And so people there is a correct idea there, is that karma is involved in this process of reaction, actions and reactions. So we're going to look at karma today, and by trying to understand it, then we can understand how to it applies to our daily life and how we could use that knowledge to make our life better. So let's look at karma. Karma simply means an action. Really, that's the real literal meaning of it. It's an action. But as we know in physics, when there's an action, there are also reactions. So in physics, the law is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So this is the physical law of action and reaction. But the psychic law of karma is a little bit different. So the actions, whatever action you do, will get a reaction. But the reaction will not always be equal. The reaction will not be equal. And the reason for this is whenever there is any change in the time, in the place, and in the person, whenever there's any change, then the reaction is intensified. It's like when you deposit money into a bank, interest-drawing account, and then it lapses for 1 year, and then after 1 year you take it out. It's not the same amount; it's more. So the same with action and reaction in this idea of karma, is that when there is a delay or there's a change in place, there's also a different kind of reaction. And regarding change in place, you have to consider this: that this Earth is moving. And even the solar system is moving, the stars are moving. So really, the place will always be changed. So the action and reaction. So this is our life. We do some kind of action, and then there's some kind of reaction will come. And the reactions are not equal. They can be different. They can be intensified, and they come in a different format. So suppose you did something bad to somebody, you hit his face, pop, and he was a pacifist. He didn't do anything. He didn't react. So you think you got away with it, but actually in your mind, your mind is, that you got away with something, and this is a distortion of your mind, and that distortion of the mind stays with you, and then one day, 10 years later, you're in a completely different city, you're walking down a strange place, it's dark, and 10 people come, and they jump on you, and then they start hitting you, and you get the reaction. So it's not the same situation, but you're getting the reaction with interest. So this is action and reaction. For every action, there's a reaction. And the problem is that reactions don't come immediately. So what happens to these reactions don't come immediately? So here, actually, this is what people say, oh, you have bad karma. You know, you had bad karma, that's why that happened to you. Or you had good karma, that's why you had good fortune. But actually, the real word to use is samskara. This is a delayed action, delayed reaction. It's a reaction in potential form. Or as my guru, Sri Sri Anandamurti, has a very good kind of a Latin definition. He calls it reactive momenta. It's a momentum. So when you push something down a hill, you just have to, in the beginning, you apply something. But as it rolls, it has its own moment. It's going by itself. You don't need to be pushing anymore. So these reactive momenta are there, and they determine what's going to happen in your existence. We build up reactive momenta every time we do an action with the ego. I'm doing this action. Every time we do that, some samskara is created, and there's going to be a reaction, whether good or bad. It depends on what kind of action you've done. And so that reaction will come to you sooner or later. Now the question about later is really interesting too, is that according to at least the yoga philosophy, is that it's not confined to one lifetime. So you're going to live here, 70 years, hopefully 80 or 90, even 100 years, but you will be doing actions and the reaction may not come. So then what will happen? So this is where it gets interesting, and I've done some YouTube videos on this, and I think I'll make some links in it about this whole cycle of birth and rebirth and things like that. So according to the yogic philosophy, you could be born again, and then these reactions will come to you at another time. So this is the cycle of action and reaction. So it's obvious, though, that if we want to have a better future, we better, in this present moment, we should do good actions. And we should avoid bad actions. That's really the simple part of it. Now, the question is, what is good and what is bad? So in this age of moral relativism, what is good, who knows what is good. But the yogis have a simple idea, what is good and what is bad. So any action which will help the physical, mental, and spiritual progress of yourself or others, that's a good action. You should do that. And any action which will retard or harm the physical, mental, or spiritual development of yourself or others, that's a bad action. So that's what vice and virtue is. So, or virtue and vice. So we should do virtue. We should do virtuous actions, good actions. We should encourage ourselves to grow physically and psychically and spiritually, and we should also promote that for others as well. So we should do the good actions and then avoid the bad actions. And in this life, this life will go much better. And also future lives, which if you may believe in it, you may not, but you should explore that possibility. And also, there's a little bit of a guide. I've done some podcasts on this before. There's a little advice that it's been given in the folk wisdom of India. It comes from a book called the Ramayana, the origin of it. But they say, do good actions immediately, and bad actions, you should delay them. Because maybe if you keep delaying them, you may not do them. So we should do as many good actions as possible, and we should avoid the bad actions. So this is one way to look at karma, that we should do what is good, avoid what is bad, and recognize that we're going to receive, some of that momentum from the past is going to come in our life, and we should accept that, but we should not compound it by doing more bad actions. So that's really what, in a nutshell, what I want to say about karma and karma yoga And you can look into this. There's more about this. Even the whole Bhagavad Gita is really it's really a treatise on karma yoga, how you should live your life. So this is what we should do. But it's just on very simple human terms. Do good actions. Don't do bad actions. Avoid them. Delay them. Don't do them. And reap your good reactions that will come. Accept the bad reactions that will come because of things that happened in the past. And this is the best way to understand karma. So that's all I want to say. I did an audio podcast on this in the place called DharmaCast. If you're watching on the video, you see it in the description on the lower left of your box. DharmaCast. That's where the audio files are kept, or they're also kept on all the podcast services. So that I did a longer one in 2013, but this is a short one. So today I just want to thank you for coming. If you like what you've seen or heard, then give it a thumbs up in whatever platform that you're doing, because that will help spread it around to more people. And if you have any questions about spiritual matters that you want me to address, then send me an email, info@dharmacast.com, or give a comment on whatever platform you're listening, and then I will be happy to address them. Just as today's podcast came at the request of one of the listeners. So that's all for today. I'll conclude with the yoga greeting, Namaskar. I pay my salutations to you with my mind and all the love and cordiality of my heart. And I hope to be with you again. Thank you very much.